In the world of emergency medicine and trauma, there is often a thin line between life and death.
This man journeyed beyond death, descending into the very depths of hell, where he confronted the weight of his sins, including the hidden racism in his past. But what he witnessed, and what Jesus revealed to him, is something no one could ever expect. The ending? One of the most shocking revelations I've ever heard. Stay tuned to hear his incredible testimony. I couldn't breathe. Something was pressing on my chest, and everything around me spun in frantic, jerking fragments, hands slamming against my ribs, voices yelling, sharp light burning into my eyes. There was a bitter taste in my mouth, metallic and sour. I gasped, but the air wouldn't come. Not really. Not enough. "Clear!" someone shouted. A surge of electricity crashed through my chest like lightning striking stone. And then, silence, stillness, weightlessness. I was floating. No longer in pain, no longer struggling. I looked down and saw the body, my body, pale, lifeless, eyes half closed. A nurse straddling the gurney, pumping my chest. Someone else fiddling with IV lines. Another person was weeping in the corner. I wanted to call out, "I'm here." But no sound came. My mouth didn't move. I had no mouth anymore. There was just awareness, shimmering, silent, detached. As I drifted higher, the room shrank beneath me. The edges of the hospital walls stretched away like shadows at sunset, and a strange warmth enveloped me. Not heat, but something deeper. Love? Peace? I don't know how to describe it, but it was pulling me upward, like gravity in reverse. Then, the tunnel. It appeared not as some cliché, but as a living thing. A swirling path of light, brighter than the sun, but soft as moonlight. I felt it vibrate with a song. No, a chorus. Harmonies I'd never heard before and somehow always known. It sang of home, of belonging. And at the far end of that luminous passage, a presence. The moment I sensed him, I fell still. Every molecule of me bowed. I didn't see him at first, not with my eyes, but with something inside. A recognition so total, so absolute, that it swallowed me whole. Then he stepped forward. Jesus. Yes, Jesus. But this was not the meek, blue-eyed painting version from Sunday school. He radiated power, not just love, but justice. Not just mercy, but authority. His robe shimmered like woven galaxies. His eyes, piercing, sorrowful, burning with unspoken truths. And when he looked at me, I crumbled. Without a word, he showed me my life. Not chronologically. No, it came in pulses, moments, choices, fragments of light and shadow, some glowing with kindness, but others, oh God. There I was, 17 years old, ignoring the homeless man outside the convenience store. He had dark skin and eyes full of stories, and I had walked past him with a joke in my mouth. Then I saw my coworker Sacha, always smiling, always working twice as hard. Black, brilliant, and often dismissed in meetings while I said nothing. I thought I was being neutral, safe. Then a flash. My neighbor, Mrs. Daniels. Her grandson had been shot. I offered her a casserole, but not my heart. On and on it went. Moments I had forgotten or chosen to forget. I wasn't cruel. I hadn't hated. But I had looked away. Each memory pierced me like a blade. And Jesus, he watched me. Not with anger, not even disappointment, but with a grief that made the stars weep. Why? I wanted to ask. Why show me this? The life review faded. I floated again, suspended in light and shame. Then he spoke. Not aloud, not with lips, but his voice thundered through the fabric of my soul. There is something you must see, something this world has buried beneath centuries of lies. My spirit trembled. What do you mean? I whispered. What? Truth. His eyes deepened as if contained oceans of sorrow and fire. He lifted his hand, and the light around us shifted. I saw something begin to open, a veil torn through dimensions. What lay beyond pulsed like a heartbeat, ancient, hidden. He looked at me, serious now, almost fierce. This truth concerns my people. Those the world has silenced. You will not return the same. Then he reached toward the veil, and the moment his hand touched it, everything. When the veil tore open, the light wasn't blinding, it was revealing. Jesus stepped forward, and I followed, unsure if my feet touched anything at all. We moved, not through space, but through truth. The environment shifted around us, becoming what felt like a vast divine archive. Endless currents of golden threads stretched into every direction, pulsing with memories, moments, and meanings. "These are not merely visions," Jesus said, though his lips never moved. "They are living truths." Before I could ask what he meant, the tapestry around us unraveled and reshaped itself, like a massive, sacred screen. Then it began. At first, I saw a continent. Alive. Glorious. Africa. But not the Africa I had seen in textbooks or charity ads. No, this was different. I saw kingdoms so radiant they shimmered with divine energy, cities built with mathematical precision and spiritual harmony. People moved with grace, strength, and purpose. Their skin glowed in every shade of brown and black, kissed by the sun and crowned in wisdom. They weren't savage or backward. They were anointed. Priests, kings, scientists, storytellers, prophets. A people walking in rhythm with the heart of God. I saw rituals not of superstition, but of sacred alignment, ceremonies that connected heaven and earth. I saw them commune with the land, the stars, and the spirit. This, Jesus whispered, is the origin the world was never shown. Tears welled up in my eyes. It was so beautiful, so holy. Then suddenly, darkness. Ships, chains, screams. Africa ravaged. Families torn apart, languages stolen, bodies branded like cattle. A firestorm of suffering unleashed upon a people who once stood so tall. The transatlantic slave trade, like a jagged knife across generations. Then colonization. Mothers begging, children dying, lands pillaged, cultures shattered. The colors that once painted the continent with divine brilliance were whitewashed, rewritten, reduced. I saw how churches stood complicit, twisting scripture to justify cruelty, preaching Christ while cracking whips. The visions sped forward. Jim Crow, lynching trees stained with blood, while Bibles rested on the laps of the executioners. Then, George Floyd. I watched as his face hit the pavement again, not as a viral clip, but as a sacred tragedy. Time froze, and Jesus' eyes darkened with sorrow. "I was there," he said, "and I felt every breath he could not take." I could hardly stand. More came. Mass incarceration, broken schools, ghettos engineered by policy, entire communities funneled into despair. Then Jesus turned to me. His face glowed, fierce with truth. "You have seen with the world's eyes," he said. "Now see with mine." And instantly, everything changed. I no longer saw black people through distorted lenses. Not through the stereotypes of media, the cold statistics, or even my own ignorance. I saw them as God saw them. Their pain was not proof of abandonment, but of calling. Their strength was not just survival, it was sacred. They were chosen, not for superiority, but for something even heavier. They are burden bearers, Jesus said. Intercessors. Restorers. They carry what others cannot. My spirit quaked under the weight of that revelation. I saw faces, young and old, from the streets of Chicago to the villages of Ghana, marked not by defeat, but by divine assignment. Jesus continued. Their DNA remembers. Their spirit has been forged through fire. They have sung through sorrow, danced through devastation, and forgiven what should never have been asked to be forgiven. I saw the history of gospel music rising from slavery's shadows, birthing sounds heaven danced to. I saw hip-hop, yes, even that, as a cry of truth, resilience, raw lament, and coded prophecy. I saw preachers in storefront churches calling down fire from heaven. I saw children in worn shoes carrying dreams bigger than systems could contain. But why isn't this known? I cried. Why haven't we seen this? Why have I not seen this? Jesus' voice thundered, not in anger, but divine urgency. Because the enemy knows. And he fears what would happen if they ever knew who they really are. He showed me how media distorts, how education erases, how the enemy sows division to keep the truth buried. The enemy does not fear their power. He fears their awareness of it. Flames rose before us, not of destruction, but of awakening. In the fire, I saw cities across the earth, Atlanta, Lagos, Johannesburg, Detroit, Kingston. And from the ashes of injustice, voices were rising. Prophets in sneakers, poets with holy rage, women preaching freedom with fire in their bones, young men rejecting despair and embracing destiny. I saw divine strategy being whispered in the ears of black leaders. Movements not just political, but prophetic. Marches led by angels. Pulpits transformed into launch pads. This, Jesus said, is the generation of the return. The return of what? I asked. He looked into me. Of the image they were made in. Of the truth they were told to forget. He opened his hand. In it, I saw a scroll sealed in gold, pulsing with energy. It is time, he said, but there is more still to see. And as he unrolled the scroll, a wind rushed through the realm we stood in. Suddenly, a deafening sound. The earth was shaking. People were waking. And then, flames again. Louder, brighter. But this time, shaped like faces, like cities, like revival. And just as I leaned forward to see the scroll hovered before us, glowing with an intensity that made my soul tremble. Symbols I couldn't read danced across its surface, ancient, divine, alive. Then, with a single nod from Jesus, the scroll unfurled itself. And suddenly, the future opened up like a wound and a promise. First came fire, but not destruction, refining. I saw black communities, Chicago, Lagos, Kingston, London, burning with the Holy Spirit. Street corners became altars. Music turned to ministry. Young men dropped weapons to raise their hands in worship. Young women, once silenced, preaching with fire in their bones. I saw revival, but I also saw resistance. Media mocking it, politicians twisting it, even some churches, comfortable in silence, rejecting it. Then I saw divine leaders rise, not celebrities or influencers, but intercessors. Prophets in hoodies, mothers who fasted until heaven cracked open, fathers who repented publicly and led their homes in prayer, children speaking in tongues. It was not a movement. It was a war. Jesus looked at me. This is the awakening, he said. And with it comes opposition. He waved his hand, and suddenly I was in another place, a realm beyond time. It looked like heaven, but not the calm, choir-laden one from paintings. This was militant. A great multitude stood gathered, souls of every race and generation. But I could see that many of them were black, their garments glowing with the radiance of those who have suffered well. Some wore crowns. Others carried scrolls. All of them burned with purpose. They stood in rows, waiting, not with anger, but with holy anticipation. Jesus gestured to them. These are the burden bearers, the truth tellers, the ones who carried pain, but never let it carry them. One stepped forward, a woman whose eyes held generations. I somehow knew she had been enslaved. But now, she stood taller than kings. Their prayers, Jesus said, are shaking the earth still. Then I saw them, each soul preparing, not for a physical battle, but for a battle of spirit, of truth, of identity. I asked him, but what am I supposed to do? And that's when Jesus turned to me. His gaze pierced through every layer of my being. You must return, he said. Tell them what I showed you. They will doubt you. They will mock you. But some will hear me, in your words. My breath caught in my throat. My spirit shook with fear and honor. Then I asked, but what do I say? Jesus stepped closer until his face was inches from mine. I could feel a power radiating from him, the love, the sorrow, the fire. He leaned in and whispered something. But you, watching this, you don't hear it. The sound cuts out. Only my expression remains, eyes wide, mouth trembling, tears streaming. Then, suddenly, a flash, and I was yanked back. The heavenly realm collapsed around me like paper. My spirit shot down like a meteor. And just like that, the heart monitor screamed. Gasps. Doctors shouting. Hands on my chest. Electricity. Chaos. And then, breath. I coughed. My body convulsed. I was back. The hospital lights blinded me. My chest burned like fire. Nurses froze in disbelief. A doctor dropped his clipboard. One whispered, he was gone. But I was here. Alive. Physically. But something, had shifted forever. The days after were a blur. I walked through life like a man with two shadows, one on earth, one still echoing in the throne room. I tried to pretend it was a dream, tried to silence it, but the message burned like a brand inside me. Every time I saw injustice, it screamed. Every time I heard a lie about black people on the news, it pulsed. Every time I passed a black man bowed by the weight of a world that doesn't see him, I remembered. I remembered the fire, the scroll, the burden, the command. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I knew I had to speak. I had to tell him. And so I wrote, I prayed, I waited for the right moment. And now I'm speaking to you. Because Jesus didn't say, tell the world. He said, tell them. He meant you. You were told you were lesser. You carry trauma in your DNA. You have forgiven too much, wept too long, and questioned your worth one too many times. Jesus sees you. He has always seen you. And your time, our time, is not coming. It's now. So here I am, on this camera, with trembling hands, about to tell you what Jesus whispered in my ear. But just as I opened my mouth,